my shoes and out the door. 5, I'm alive. 6, 7, 8, feeling great. 9, gonna shine, life is good. I'm doing fine. 10, gonna do it right and do it again, yeah. I look into the sky with all the beautiful color, but there's more than just for me, so gonna share it with another. I got to show, to give, let out. I want to sing and shout. Take a look and see a beautiful morning.
Been in here and people are roaring with laughter, so.
It's a dirty show, though.
Well, it's clean dirt.
You have here the best of the best.
Yes.
So we have many celebrities here. The Harley Madison come over here, and the Usher come over here many often, and the Paris Hilton come here.
Boy, I'm dating myself, but it's okay. Nobody else will. Oh.
That's so Vegas.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all, not one bill. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
The treatment doesn't get any better than what you receive at St. Jude. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
Welcome to That's So Vegas TV. I'm your host, Christine McKellar. I'm here in the fantastic Las Vegas Arts District, downtown Las Vegas, Nevada. This is the month of October. A lot of spooky things going on, a lot of fun stuff. Vegas is bursting with all kinds of wonderful Halloween things for kids and family. And I have a very interesting lady sitting here in my studio. She's an author. She's got several doctorates, former military person. S.D. Moore, welcome to our studio.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. You have a very interesting background. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Number one, having been in the military, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And you're obviously very intelligent. You're working on doctorate degrees, but you had some type of an injury during your service, and it absolutely altered your life and your path in life. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what branch of the military you were in and how that all came about?
I joined the Air Force from Detroit, Michigan, and I did various things in the military. Towards the end, though, I was an equal opportunity specialist and investigator.
Oh.
But during my tour, I was sent to Turkey, and then they forward deployed me to Iraq. And as soon as I returned from Iraq back to Turkey, that's when I began to get ill.
Oh.
Kidney stones, massive headaches, and as soon as I returned to Germany, I had a stroke.
No,
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah. I was out running with some Marines and became really nauseous. I went home, and a few hours later, I woke up on the floor.
Oh, scary.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So do you think perhaps maybe, and I'm just going to throw this out there, something in the air, maybe in Iran and Iraq or whatever, there's some questionable practices?
Well, a lot of troops came back really sick, and they've been sickly and getting sicker ever since they left that deployment.
Right.
So from multiple kidney stones to lupus-like symptoms. They're calling it Gulf War syndrome.
Oh.
So a lot of neurological problems, fatigue syndrome, things like that. So probably, I can't say for sure, no one wants to say, but.
Well, to look at you, you'd never know you suffered a brain trauma like that, and it can be very traumatic. You somehow got a blessing out of that, though, didn't you?
Yes, it's so weird. Initially, right after the stroke, I couldn't spell the or very. And it took months before I overcame that. I had a lot of difficulty with that. So I actually had one half of my communication sector destroyed after the stroke.
Wow.
Yeah. So after that, it probably took maybe a year or so. And then my mind became alive with music and lyrics and invention and books, just whole stories. I mean, I literally wrote 3 novels in the shower.
Holy cow!
But you know, I can't.
Tommy Knockers, Stephen King's. It reminds me of that. That's yeah.
And I just didn't. I didn't write them down, but. pretty soon my mind calmed down and I kind of, settled into the seat of the madness, if you will.
Oh, great. And how is that seat? Are you enjoying the ride or?
It's so much better now because it was like I was losing it, even with the invention. I mean, it was like my daughter came home one day and I was sitting on the floor with empty cereal boxes and coat hangers and plastic, and I was trying to put this thing together. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was actually creating this portable hot sink system, and I patented the thing.
A portable hot sink. Would that be like to take on camping trips or just a?
It was kind of large, but you would use it like for fairs or things, outdoor events.
Yeah.
It's a 3-sink unit that heats water to the appropriate temperature to kill off foodborne bacteria.
Very cool.
Yeah.
How exciting to be an inventor and an author and now everything else that you had going on,
Yeah, it's insanity.
Oh, but you wear it well. How has your family adapted to this? You have the one daughter, are you married, or tell us a little bit?
Yeah, one daughter, and I have grandchildren.
Oh,
and we'll probably get to some of that a little bit later, but they just think that I'm an oddball, and they're just rolling with it.
You've written children's books, which tell us a little bit about that.
Well, The Adventures of PJ and Split Pea is based off of the antics of my grandson, PJ. So when he was little, he was the smallest kid in his class, and he was picked on because of that. And so I wanted to do something for him. I felt a little helpless, and so I created this world where PJ would be safe. And I invented a wisecracking British parrot named Split Pea to be his pal.
How clever.
Yeah, all of his antics at home where my daughter would yell at him, I thought were hilarious. So
the privilege of a grandmother, right? You can always hand him back, laugh at all the little foibles and the...
Absolutely.
And so Split Pea the parrot, that you pulled that just somewhere out of any past experience with that? Or?
No, that was weird. That's part of what the neurologist calls acquired savant syndrome, where I have all of these new skills that I didn't have before.
Interesting. So you even wrote these children's books after the fact, after the stroke. Prior to that, did you have any interest in the arts or drama or literary things or music? No.
No.
Nothing. You were just happy being an investigator and doing what you did in the Army, right?
Air Force, yeah.
Or, excuse me. Oh, big difference. Well, we honor and treasure them all, but Air Force is different.
Aim high.
Aim
blue.
high.
Yes, that's us.
So, and you were how long in that? 14 years in service?
Yes, and then I got so sick that they medically retired me.
Oh,
lots of weird issues. So
how long ago was that?
2000. I retired from Nellis Air Force Base.
Oh, you were stationed here.
Yes.
That's remarkable. How lovely. You knew the Thunderbirds and everybody then, probably.
I encountered, many of them. Yes.
Yeah. Good looking. It reminds you of what was that Tom Cruise movie with the. Goodness, it was Top Gun.
Top Gun,
How can anybody ever forget that?
Yes.
Do you miss being in the military at all, or how was that? Was it like just being fired from your job, or? It
was hard at first, because I dedicated many years of my life to that, and I intended to retire. And, you develop so many friendships, It was hard to leave that behind.
Plus, you traveled everywhere, didn't
you? But, the camaraderie, it was hard to let that go. So even after I left that, a few years later, I started working for the federal government, and I don't know, maybe to be closer to my brothers and sisters in arms.
That would be cool too. And there's a certain element of discipline that you acquire there, and precision. I think you were pointing out my necklace earlier, which I really appreciate. By the way, not very many people do. It's like, is there lipstick on my teeth? Well, do tell. Why would people not tell you that you don't? Well, do you have lipstick on your teeth?
We're taught to take care of our buddies, so I'm just taking care of my buddy.
There you go. I love it. I have to take care of my sponsor by giving them a shout out. They keep me on the air.
Okay.
It's the Red Roof Inn on Paradise across from the Hard Rock Hotel. They're close to the airport and the Strip, and they are pet friendly, and they keep me on the air, so we love them. I will be right back with this very enchanting woman, S.D. Moore. Don't go away. See you in a minute. Well, hey there. Welcome to That's So Vegas. This is our new studio in the famous Las Vegas Arts District, downtown Las Vegas. We're here to rock your world. going to ask you how it felt to be breaking good here at the Bellagio for the National
I saw
Center.
what you did.
Your last CD was My Secret Life. I wanted to ask you what your secrets were. Tune in and turn on with us in downtown Las Vegas. This is where the action is, and that's So Vegas. Welcome back to That's So Vegas TV. I'm your host, Christine McKellar. I'm here with a very delightful, enchanting, and multi-talented woman, author, inventor, former military with the Air Force, S.D. Moore. And you have a lot of interesting facets to your personality. We talked earlier about you had suffered a stroke.
Yes.
During your service, and had experienced a number of different things that led to you being medically discharged with honor. And another kind of cool thing, though, a side effect of that is, I know you were saying your brain just felt like it was electrified. You were inventing things, and multitudes of things are going on with you, but just from no past experience or desire, you became an author.
Yes.
So, you've done children's books?
Yes. I was talking about the adventures of PJ and Split Pea. And so I started writing. I wrote the first one probably, I think it was 2005 or 6 or somewhere around there. And then the second book, this actually was about my grandson losing his tooth and what happened. And he wanted to take his piggy bank and go buy another tooth, because he didn't want to take a school picture without a tooth.
Aww.
And so I wrote that book and won first prize in Read Reviews.
Nice.
Yeah, and so then I wrote book 3, published that this year, and then just combined an anthology of all of the books, along with an activity book in the back, and this earned honorary mention in the Reader's Favorites International Book Competition.
Congratulations.
Thank
I
you.
know that's no mean feat at all.
I know.
And may I look at that for a minute?
Sure.
I read a little excerpt from it. It's really adorable. And you have to love a sassy British parrot named Split Pea who likes a little boy named PJ.
Yes.
It's got all the elements, and you're SD. So it's like following a family trait there.
Yes.
Now, it's interesting to me that you've gone, and I'm an author myself. I've written several fiction novels and short stories and that nature, primarily for young adults. But children's stories are difficult to write. A lot of people aren't aware of that. They're just not like you sit down and it just rolls out of you. So your recent book is called Wicked Prayers.
Yes.
And, I just caught a vibe from you when you said yes to that. So from what I understand, I haven't had a chance to read it yet. It's on my table, and I want you to sign it, by the way, before you leave. It does say, and may I look at your copy here, because what I found interesting, this again is your latest release, Wicked Prayers. It is a fiction book, and has been lauded as, and they say contains mystery, action, supernatural, erotic scenes, violence, adult language, and a little faith.
Yeah.
What a combination. And what a leap from children's books to Wicked Prayers. So could you tell us a bit about this journey and story and what inspired this particular?
Well, because I had difficulty exercising my communication sector, I wanted to challenge myself to write a novel. And it took me about 16 years to finish it.
Whoa.
Yeah, because I get sick along the way and have to stop and get sick again, and I almost died in 2005.
Wow,
and the book, it contains a little bit of faith, because I'd fall back on my belief system and turn to the Bible. The beast is my interpretation of the Leviathan from the book of Job.
Whoa.
Interesting, because Kirkus Reviews actually picked up on that, and they're the only ones that did. And so I did insert a little bit of passages throughout, so my characters are speaking some of the verses and things, but it's done so subtly you wouldn't even notice it.
Interesting. So why did you pick the horror genre? Couldn't it, I mean, as opposed to mystery?
Well, this book does include a little bit of mystery,
Right.
But it's a horror comedy with a little bit of mystery in it. But it started out again, there's several things that motivated this, though. So the health issues kind of motivated my desire to turn to my faith and to create some of the characters. I'll discuss that in a minute. But I used to live with a woman who engaged in witchcraft.
All right.
And so she practiced water gazing, where she'd write a letter to her dead sister and use the water as a conduit to contact the dead. And so I always said, what would happen if something other than her sister came through that spirit door?
Ooh.
And so I explored that with grand horror fashion.
Oh, very nice.
Yes, yeah. But the creatures came from what was happening with me. Since I have a condition they might call Gulf War syndrome, but recently found out it's actually lupus. I created leapers, and those are the monsters that leap around and attacking and just eviscerating
Wreaking
people.
havoc.
Absolutely. And so that's something that happens with the body. You know, you have something that's constantly leaping around within the body. But the beast came from my interpretation, like I said, of the Book of Job. But he's a heart-eating demon, and he pierces the hearts of his victims. And I recently found out that I was born with a hole in my heart.
Oh, whoa.
So after I wrote about this, I discovered my heart was pierced.
That's a trip right then and there. This is like a metastasis, a metamorphosis of sorts and how you're projecting what's going on with you into a material, actually something you can pick up and read about. And was it kind of cathartic to write this? Or
Absolutely.
Please tell us. How did you feel as it all?
I actually named my monsters and took control of my monsters, okay, and put them in a book format. And lo and behold, I guess I should say this year I was informed that Wicked Prayers earned a gold medal, which is first place in the Reader's Favorites International Book Competition.
Wow, congratulations again.
Thank you. It beat out thousands of people. So this brain-damaged wounded warrior from Detroit kicked the butts of thousands of writers, and I took first place.
I'm so happy for you. Did they give you a certificate of recognition, or do you?
I got a medal.
Oh, that's really cool. That is awesome. I never got one for my novels, but they were just pretty tame sailing, sexy, romantic adventure types. But that's really a nice accolade. So can we show the cover of the book again?
Yes.
And this is available on Amazon, correct?
Amazon, yes. Barnes & Noble.
Barnes & Noble.
Several other places, so iTunes, and it's also available in audiobook format.
Well, we know that you've got some book signings coming up.
Yes.
We'll talk about that in a minute, because I have to shout out to my sponsor again. This segment went really fast. I was enchanted and enthralled with your tale here about how this the Wicked Prayers came about. So interesting title too.
Yes.
I want to find out how that came about. But a quick shout out to the Red Roof Inn. They are on Paradise across from the Hard Rock Hotel. Actually, they have Red Roof Inns all over the country, and a lot of people really like them. Pet friendly, free Wi-Fi, and continental breakfast for guests. Don't go away. I'll be right back with S.D. Moore, and we're going to talk about where you can find her book and see her at book signings. And don't forget about the neck thing. We'll be right back.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. If you think about that, I mean, go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. And there's one thing we're focused on here at St. Jude, and that's beating this thing.
Welcome back to That's So Vegas TV. I'm your host, Christine McKellar. I'm here with a very fun and informative and interesting author, S.D. Moore. We've covered a lot of ground in this past half hour, and I want to thank you right off the bat for being a guest on the show. You've got a book signing coming up, and that's at a Reiki Center, I believe, out in Summerlin.
Yes, yes. It's
October 29th.
Yes, I'm. Excuse me for reading this, but it is October 29th at the Enchanted Forest Reiki Center, and it's at 2280 South Jones Boulevard from 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. So I'm going to be there along with other authors, and I want to say this. no hugging and kissing me on the neck. That's like stealing honey from a bee, and even bears get stung for that.
Are you having a problem with people coming up and kissing you on the neck?
Men and women.
What is up with that?
I don't know. Maybe it's my perfume. It's the Chanel, I'm sure.
It could be.
Yeah.
Not on the cheek, but on the neck.
It's very intimate.
Oh.
Somebody's going to get it very soon. Yes.
I find that interesting because that goes back to the vampire thing again. You know, maybe it could be the time of the year. It's October, and that the title of your book is Wicked Prayers.
Yes.
So, do the prayers get answered in the book, or?
Yes, in a way.
In a way.
It's a very violent, very gory kind of story.
It's graphic and adult, from what I understand.
It is, and it does have some supernatural erotica in it. So I guess one could say good and bad prayers get answered, if you will.
Know, it's funny, when I wrote my books, I was trying to think, how would I, who's my audience, right? Mm-hmm. And then I thought, well, I could let my son read this after he turns 18. I didn't want him to read it prior to that. I doubt he's ever read any of my books or my stuff anyway, but has your daughter read the book? Did she enjoy it?
Yes, several of my family members have, and my aunt actually gave the book to some church group.
Oh.
And so one of my biggest fans is a 69-year-old woman out of Detroit, a church lady.
Oh, that's good. I love it. And family, they're our best and worst proofreaders, aren't they?
Yeah.
Now, this event that you do have coming up on 29th, is that to benefit Alzheimer's, I understand?
Yes, it is to benefit the Alzheimer's of Nevada. It's a charity organization that provides various resources for people who are family members of people with Alzheimer's and people who are suffering with Alzheimer's as well.
Well, I'm fortunate in that I haven't had to deal with that personally, but I think, is that coming from what you've had to deal with, the injury of the stroke that you had? And
I do have a fondness for charities that deal with closed head injuries.
And a stroke is considered a closed head injury,
yes.
I would imagine.
Yes.
So you're so lucky you didn't suffer the physical things. I mean, one can call it luck. I think it is lucky. But you were saying earlier you came up with all these ideas for patents. And a lot of this expression that you've had with your writing and everything, wasn't it just to keep yourself sane from all the activity going on? And
I had to do a mind dump, It needed to be said or created or manifested. And in that it would... These notions would stop bothering me, So, the stories and things, I've got stories in my head now, and I need to write them,
So do you write every day? That's always a question. I know what I did, but do you write daily? Is that like a discipline with you now? And
a little bit. It's more of an urge, a need to put something down, I don't want to forget different things in my head either. So these things are coming from somewhere, and apparently people enjoy what I'm creating. So I'm going to make sure that I capture what's in my head.
Now, is this book something that could have a sequel to it? Or
Absolutely.
Yes,
and in fact, my next book is called Before We Were Perfect, and hopefully I will have it published before Valentine's Day.
Okay.
It's a dramatic comedy love story, but I do spin off a short story with a few characters from Wicked Prayer.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I like it like with Stephen King, he'll bleed in a character or just a location or something. And, they all seem to, but it's like life. We're all kind of woven together on the same tapestry, aren't we?
Yes.
It's always a good thing. But now people, again, I want to make sure before we go that they can buy the book from your website and on Amazon.
Well, not from my website, but from online booksellers.
Okay.
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and iTunes. So there are various places, and you can go into a bookstore and also request Wicked Prayers.
And that's what we like, Wicked Prayers. And are you going to give us an amen to that?
Amen.
Amen. SD, thanks again, honey. This has just been I love getting into the mind of a...
Thanks for having me, but I also brought you a gift, and I don't know if we have time.
Well, of course. My sponsor can wait.
Oh,
goodness, thank you.
Actually,
Oh, no.
got you a pair.
Thank you.
Of The Adventures of PJ and Split Pea flip flops.
I love PJ and Split Pea.
Yes. So
I'm going to wear them the rest of. Did you know that I had stubbed my toe and I've been just dying in these shoes?
Look at that.
I'm going to wear these the rest of the day. Thank you so much. And I love, like I said, Split Pea.
Yes.
And PJ. I'll have to meet PJ one day. And if at all possible, I'm going to try to make it out to your book signing. I'd love to see you there.
Thank you.
Best of luck and continue with the great work. You're just a wonderful gal. I love you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, a pleasure. Thank you. I'm Christine McKellar with this week's latest Vegas entertainment updates. There's just a lot of stuff going on in October here in Las Vegas. Too much to mention all in one spot. For teasers, there are events at the Springs Preserve, Opportunity Village, Walker Furniture, and Wet n Wild. You'll find all you need to know at www.vegasonlyentertainment.com. Like I said, tons of foodie stuff, parties, festivals, and all kinds of things for the family. Las Vegas' first mermaid school, Aqua Mermaid, opened last week. The swimming school will teach kids and adults how to swim with a mermaid tail, and it's an interesting activity for bachelorette parties. The Mob Museum has extended its Sip and Savor blind spirits tastings held on Saturdays from 2 to 5 p.m. through October. The 15-minute presentation offers blind tastings of 4 different distilled beverages sponsored by Johnson Brothers of Nevada. Museum educators share information about the history of Prohibition, how the spirits are made, what flavor profiles are associated with each, and how to use the nose and palate to get the most enjoyment out of each spirit. Cost per tasting is $5. On Saturday, October 7th, more than 700 cars and bikes took over a parking lot at M Resort for the hashtag Vegas Strong charity car meet. They raised more than $22,000 for the Las Vegas Victims Fund. The M Resort donated the beverage sales and matched the total proceeds, giving an additional $28,000 to the National Compassion Fund, Las Vegas. In honor of National Chocolate Day, Ethel M. Chocolates in Henderson will be giving visitors and online shoppers a sweet surprise. On October 28th, the Gourmet Confectionery Company will give complimentary chocolate tasting experiences to visitors at their flagship store and will offer online shoppers 8 extra chocolate bars to the first 100 online purchases. Gaining fame on America's Got Talent, Illuminate, which applies a seamless combination of technology and dance to create a visual display and tell a story, will appear at the Smith Center on Sunday, October 22nd at 7:30 p.m. Ticket costs $24 to $79. Zelza Shriners of Las Vegas will present its fundraising 68th annual Zelza Shrine Circus Under the Big Top at the Boulevard Mall at the corner of Twain and Maryland Parkway with outstanding specialty acts and special appearances by master magician Lance Burton. There will be 3 shows daily on October 20th, 21st, and 22nd at 11 a.m., 3 p.m., and 7 p.m. Tickets are $15 for ages 12 and older, $10 for 3 and 12, and free for 3 years and under. Again, the month of October is bursting with food, fun, and festivals in Las Vegas. Visit VegasOnlyEntertainment.com for more info, and I'll see you next week. Until then, I'm Christine McKellar, and that's So Vegas.
1, 2, 3, 4, get my shoes and out the door. 5, I'm alive. 6, 7, 8, feeling great. 9, gonna shine, life is good. I'm doing fine. 10, gonna do it right and do it again, yeah.